Two important names off the Seahawks Super Bowl winning roster have been attached to some other teams around the league. We have an NFL mock draft to look over and a very special guest for the Mariners portion of this podcast. All that and more on the 24th episode of the 12th Inning Podcast. Welcome back to the 12th Inning Podcast. My name is Rich, joined as always by my buddy Mitch. Thank you for joining us on episode 24 of the 12th Inning Podcast. Before we get into our Seahawks, make sure you drop a like, drop a follow, and follow us on our TikTok, Instagram, all that fun stuff to stay up to date with us on a more regular basis. So, Rashid Shaheed has been connected, potentially going to the Cleveland Browns. Nothing is set in stone. I don't even think the new league year has started yet, but it is looking like the Browns might be wanting to go after him, which I do think is kind of interesting. I'm really hoping we can retain him, but honestly, he's kind of one of those ones that I don't really know if we will. So I'm hoping he doesn't go to the Browns and goes to somebody else, because that just sounds like a career ender for him. But we'll have to see what happens. And also, Kenneth Walker III has been connected to the Houston Texans. I guess the Texans are really going to be aggressive in the running back market, and part of that includes going after Kenneth Walker III, which of course he's the top free agent running back right now. So two big names from that Seahawks Super Bowl winning roster who are potentially going to other places. Of course, these sorts of things will start to roll out as the offseason continues, and nothing is set in stone. Neither of these guys are 100% gone right now, so don't panic, but it is something to keep an eye on. Mitch, I want to get your opinion on Rashid Shaheed and Kenneth Walker.
So as far as Rashid goes, I don't think he'll be leaving. Yeah, of course the Browns want him. They need all the help they can get. But I also agree with you. I think if he did go to the Browns, that's unfortunately a career ender right there. The Browns and the Jets are the two career ending teams. But I don't think that Rashid leaves. I think we keep him because I think he had a great time on the Seahawks. He constantly talked about how he just felt the love as soon as he got there, and he wants to be on a Super Bowl contending team. The Browns are not it. So I don't think he goes to the Browns. Kenneth Walker, that one's more, I think that one's more in the hands of the Seahawks right there.
Hmm.
They need to just pay him. Like,
Mhm,
he is the guy they need to just pay. Him and
mhm.
JSN are the two guys they need to just pay. Now, granted, K9 was nowhere near as far as like at his position what JSN was at his position, but at the same time, those two guys are guys that they need to pay. But at the same time, if K9 leaves, it would suck. It would hurt. But I do think it's in the hands of the Seahawks at this point. But I also think that K9, if the Seahawks start offering him, he does take a team friendly deal. I think
Hmm.
he does stay on the team because he seemed to also enjoy being here. I think all the guys enjoyed being here and they all want to be on, a Super Bowl contending team. Not saying that the Texans aren't, but the Browns definitely aren't. It's like, so that's why I don't think
Yeah,
Rashid leaves. I think they do keep him. K9, I think there's some negotiating that needs to go on there, but I do think K9 would take a team friendly deal to stay.
it's going to be interesting for sure, because like we keep talking about, the contract situation. You have JSN, K9, Spoon, like, and a bunch of others. There's only so much money to go around for the Seahawks team. They are, I think they're 10th in cap space available, so it's very rare for a Super Bowl winning team to have that much cap space. So they're in a good position. This team won't change significantly, but as much as I would hate to lose K9, you still have Zach Charbonnet, which obviously there are some
Mhm.
questions with him for sure. With how is he going to be coming off of his ACL? But this draft class is also pretty deep for running backs, and we will get into a mock draft here in a second. So, you know, I would hate to see K9 go, but when I look at like who we have to retain, I could live with it. I just wouldn't be happy about it for sure, for sure. So, yeah, it's kind of the talk of the town of just what do the Seahawks do? They have a lot of money, so that's good to see, but they've also got a lot of expensive guys that they're going to have to pay for. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this offseason.
I do have one other person as far as free agency goes. That has been kind of interesting. He's not on the Seahawks, but a lot of people are talking about the Seahawks should make a run at him, and that's
Mhm.
Wyatt Teller.
Mm.
He is an excellent run blocker. He's a
Mm.
right guard. We have left guard Gray Zabel, as we all know, and we have Anthony Bradford on the other side. Wyatt Teller is much better than Anthony Bradford, and I think we should go after. I also agree we should go after Wyatt Teller. His contract isn't too bad, it like especially with the cap space that we have right now.
Mhm.
So I like his value is 10.2 million.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at
So
all.
for a guard who has
Yeah.
been to the Pro Bowl 3 times, that's what I thought.
Wow.
He's been to the Pro Bowl 3 times. So a Pro Bowler versus Anthony Bradford, pay him a little bit more.
That'll play. I'll take that. I'll take that
I'm
for
just
sure. I mean,
saying.
yeah.
I'm just saying. Like we have two great guards. Left side's locked down, and then the right side's honestly locked down because like our right tackle can't remember who it was at the moment.
Mm, I got nothing.
But that's fine because guess what? His name wasn't talked about in a bad way. It wasn't talked about in a good way, but he was good. He was decent. He did his
Yeah.
job. Like
Yeah.
he did his job, and that's all that mattered. But anyway, so then our right side would be locked down. We wouldn't be talking about Anthony Bradford consistently again.
Yeah,
But
for sure. I mean, O-line is always one of those you can always upgrade at O-line, whether that's through the draft, whether that's through free agents. You can always upgrade. It's not even just a Seahawks issue. That's an NFL thing. There's always an upgrade to be made. There's always a hole just because there's so many players on the O-line. So
exactly.
yeah, it's gonna be hmm?
I said exactly.
Oh, yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happened. But let's hop into that mock draft you got for us. What are people saying is gonna go? I bet you I can guess round one, pick one.
Oh yeah, all right, Richard. Yeah, let's see. Could you guess who the round one, the overall one number one pick will be in the mock draft?
That's a really tough one. Let me think. Let me think. It's Mendoza. Come on, let's be real.
Mendoza to the Raiders is obviously the mock draft, the number one overall pick.
Hmm.
It makes sense. The Raiders have the number one pick. They're not going to trade that away, especially after an abysmal year they just had.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
need a quarterback, clearly.
yeah,
Like I've said so many times, Gino ain't it. He ain't it.
yeah.
He ain't your starter. He's a great backup. He ain't the starter.
I've heard that
Um,
they're potentially going to let him go, even, which is going to be interesting.
it'd be a smart decision.
Just a lot of
But
dead cap, but yeah, got to do what you got to do.
but yeah, so Mendoza is obviously who everyone is predicting to go first overall. So that would be crazy if he didn't. But
Hmm.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Raiders are, well, stupid. They're not that stupid.
They're trying to not be stupid. They hired Clint Kubiak.
Um, but and then quickly to go over the rest. We got number two New York Jets, who are predicted to pick up Arvel Reese. I apologize. Some of these names I may say wrong. I don't know college players all that well.
What position is he?
He's an edge player from Ohio State.
Okay.
Oh, sorry guys, the Ohio State.
The Ohio State. Yeah, come on.
Number three Arizona Cardinals. Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame.
Hmm.
Four
Yeah, Cardinals
Tennessee.
could take a running back for sure.
Yeah. Four Tennessee Titans. Ruben Bain Jr., edge from Miami.
Interesting.
New York Giants, Caleb Downs, safety from Ohio State, the Ohio
Okay.
State. Six Cleveland Browns. Oh, here we go. Francis my Goa. I sorry. He's an offensive tackle from Miami.
Uh huh.
Washington Commanders. David Bailey, edge, Texas Tech. Eight New Orleans Saints. Sonny Styles, linebacker, the Ohio State.
Hmm.
Number nine, Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, real quick, it is crazy to see the Chiefs this high up
Yeah.
to be picking this high up like that.
Yeah.
That's not a trade up, of course. Like it's crazy. But
Yeah.
number nine, Kansas City Chiefs. Carnell Tate, wide receiver, the Ohio State. Number
Yeah.
10.
They need receivers for sure.
Tell me about it. Number 10, Cincinnati Bengals, Jermod McCoy, cornerback, Tennessee.
Yes, Bengals, please get some defense. Fuck.
Number 11, Miami Dolphins, Akeem Mesidor, an
Mm-hmm.
edge from Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Number 12, Dallas Cowboys, Mansour Delane, cornerback,
Mm-hmm.
LSU. 13, Los Angeles Rams, Avion Terrell, cornerback, Clemson. 14, Baltimore Ravens, Caleb Banks, defensive tackle from Florida. 15, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Keldrick Falk, an edge, Auburn. 16, New York Jets, Makai Lemon,
Mm.
Lamon, wide receiver, USC. 17, Detroit Lions, Cassius Howell, edge, Texas A&M. Number 18, Minnesota Vikings, Dylan Thieneman, safety, Oregon. 19, Carolina Panthers, CJ Allen, linebacker, Georgia. 20, Dallas Cowboys, TJ Parker, edge, Clemson. 21, Pittsburgh Steelers, Kenyon Sadiq, tight end, Oregon. 22, Los Angeles Chargers, holy mother of God.
Give it your best shot.
Oh, Oliva Vega alone. His last name's easy.
Oh my
All right,
god.
real
Okay.
quick. If you want to cut this out, that's fine. But I want to know how you would pronounce this. It is spelled OlavaVegA.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously that's Oliva Vega alone. Like you
Oh
don't know
yeah, sure,
Oliva.
definitely. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm sure
Oh my
you know
god.
who that is. Anyway, number 22, Los Angeles Chargers, Ola Vega, lone. He's a guard, Penn State.
Hmm.
Anyway, number 23, Philadelphia Eagles, Spencer Fano, offensive tackle, Utah. Number 24, Cleveland Browns, Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, Arizona State. See, they're predicted to draft a wide receiver anyway. Leave Rashid alone, all right? He's ours. Anyway, number
I mean, who do they?
25,
Who are they gonna have throwing? Like, come on.
exactly. Like, he's not even going to be able to get it to Rashid. I know they just want him probably for his punt returns and his kick returns, but still,
Yeah, it's the only way they'd score any points.
right? The kicker from the other team can throw better than whoever they're going to have throwing at quarterback. Anyway, number 25, Chicago Bears, Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle, Georgia. Number 26, Buffalo Bills, KC Concepcion, wide receiver, Texas A&M. Texas A&M. I was able to read his last name better than I was able to read his school. Number 27, San Francisco 49ers, Denzel Boston, wide receiver, Washington.
Hmm.
Oh, there is a UW player.
Hmm. Oh yeah, you
There's
were
not,
talking. We were talking
that's,
about that off camera.
yeah, so there is a UW player from Washington, not Washington State, Washington. So, of course, we should have known from his name. We've played college football. Denzel Boston. It's like a main
Oh
wide
my
receiver
god.
we throw to.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, hey, hope happy for him. Hope he goes. I mean, I'm sad it's the Niners, but good luck, dude.
Hopefully, maybe we just they draft him and then we just make a trade and get him on the team anyway.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I mean he's pretty good. So
Yeah.
hopefully he goes to a different team. Hopefully he gets picked up
Yeah.
sooner than number 27.
Yeah.
Number 28, Houston Texans, Peter Woods, defensive tackle, Clemson. 29, Los Angeles Rams, Ty Simpson, quarterback, Alabama.
Hmm.
30, Denver Broncos, Lee Hunter, defensive tackle, Texas Tech. 31, New England Patriots, Caden Proctor, offensive tackle, Alabama. And finally, number 32 is obviously the Seattle Seahawks, who are predicted to draft Colton Hood, a cornerback from Tennessee.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, getting some cornerback help would be nice, especially since we're likely going to lose Reek. I think Kobe Bryant is a free agent as well, so
Josh
makes
Jobe,
sense to
too.
kind of yeah. So makes sense to draft a cornerback. So yeah, okay, I'm cool with that. That doesn't sound like anything I'm too upset at for sure.
So after going over this mock draft, the thing that I'm most shocked by, and maybe you are too, I don't know, but the fact that the first quarterback to come like off of the draft or get drafted is not until number 29 in this mock draft.
Yeah, I mean, I the one thing I've heard from this draft is that it's not a very QB rich draft. So like I'm kind of surprised, but kind of not at the same time. You know what I mean?
It definitely, based on this mock draft, it definitely seems this draft class is definitely heavy in offensive line and secondary
Yeah,
defense.
yeah, for sure. So
So
yeah, I mean,
that's crazy though. Like it's the first time that at least for me that I've seen a mock draft specifically have a quarterback, the first quarterback to come off the list so low. Usually it's at least
yeah,
within the top 10, even when it's not a heavy quarterback draft class. Well, okay, sorry. It's not the first quarterback. That's right. The number one overall pick is a quarterback.
oh yeah, okay, true. Yeah, sorry,
But
we're forgetting about Mendoza.
we didn't really talk about Mendoza because like they're obviously gonna pick up Mendoza. If they don't, they will be slated as the dumbest organization to ever exist for at least the 2026 season.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, 100%,
Like
100%.
because
But
if they don't pick him up, you know the Jets are gonna immediately pick him up at number two.
yeah, I mean, honestly,
Like
I kind of wish that would happen. That would be
he's
interesting.
if he doesn't go number one, he's going number two. But I really hope that the Raiders pick him up because I think he can at least succeed on the Raiders. If he goes to
Yeah.
the Jets, well, we've all seen what happens to quarterbacks on the Jets.
You're cooked, bud. Just wait until you get to your fifth team, and then you'll reach the Super Bowl. So, yeah, it's this draft is going to be really interesting. I think what we should try and do for this draft, assuming all schedules and stuff line up, is we should live stream for the first round. I think that would be fun. But yeah, I mean that's really kind of all there is to it for the Seahawks right now. It's still the off season. There's still not a whole lot to talk about. But coming up, we have a very exciting discussion with Jake. Raise the Trident. We're going to be talking some Mariners with him. And just for a second before we transition into that, I wanted to kind of talk to you, Mitch, about our conversation with him. What do you think? I had a blast talking with him. He had some really awesome insight. Dude knows ball for sure, for sure.
Yeah, it was really interesting, like talking to someone who has like all that knowledge, who's been able to talk to some players, been able to talk to announcers. So just excited for when we finally get there and can, have some players on here and
Yeah,
have some interviews with them. Like that'll be a lot of fun.
for sure, for sure. So we won't keep you waiting any longer. Let's get right into talking some ball, talking some Mariners with Jake. Raise the Trident. All right, and here we are. Jake, welcome to the podcast, Mr. Part of Girthquake himself. How we doing today, man?
I am doing great. It is an exciting time. In I think what 5 minutes, another spring training game will be starting. Logan Gilbert on the
Mhm.
mound, Ryan Sloan making his spring training debut as well. So exciting times. Everything is going great. How's everything for y'all?
Been good, just paying attention to spring training. I don't know about you, Mitch, but I got to watch the Cade Anderson start yesterday. That was, oh my god, dude was filthy. I'm like, call him up now. I'm ready.
Yeah,
No,
he's
I did.
he's
I
exciting.
watched the highlights though, so I did get to
Yeah.
see the highlights of it. It was pretty good. But yeah, I also just got the notification that that game is starting soon.
I
Yeah, I
actually have
forgot to bring it
MLB
up. I'm
up.
like, I gotta get this up. I gotta get this up just on the side. It's like my guy Ryan Sloan. He's my guy, so I have to be watching out for sure.
You
Dude
said this
came into
is his
camp
first start.
looking.
You said this is
Well,
his
so
first start, spring training.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's slated to pitch today, and it'll be his first time. I don't know if he pitched last season in spring or not.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's his first for this year at least.
Okay.
yeah, just so much exciting. Like the young guys have been really, really exciting this year for me watching spring training. This is honestly the first time like I've really fully paid attention to spring training. Like in years prior, I've kind of paid attention here and there, but I'm paying attention to every game and watching the stats and everything as much as you should for a spring training game, should I say? We're not watching it like gospel, but yeah, I mean, so speaking of young guys and just spring training, what has who's someone who's kind of surprised you so far watching spring training this year, Jake?
Um, That's a good question. I mean, I would say like the guy who's been the talk of spring training down there has been Cole Emerson, right? Like he
Mm-hmm.
is competing for a potential opening day spot. So they've been giving him a lot of reps, and especially with a lot of guys going to the WBC as of now. This is the start of spring training where the WBC guys are officially gone. You're going to get a lot of innings for those young guns. Your Cole Emersons, Michael Arroyo. Well, never mind. Michael Arroyo is playing in the WBC. I forgot about that. But you're
Yeah.
going to see your Kate Andersons, your Ryan Sloans, and just, it's going to be really nice in that front of being able to kind of get eyes on the young guns who are really trying to kind of find where they're at in the organization right now. Colt Emerson he looks the part, I think, is the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing that a lot of people say is he feels like a major leaguer already, and he's only 20. Um, and he has an advanced approach to the plate, and defensively he's really good. I was able to see a couple really nice plays from him while I was down there at spring training, and so he's solid defensively. Michael Royo's been hitting the cover off the ball. It's just the biggest problem
Mm-hmm.
with him is his defense is not good. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of one of those things where like you almost wish Michael Royo could just be kind of like a competent enough defender to where like he could maybe break camp. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael Royo's been hitting it really well. So I would say those are the main two. I didn't have a chance to see Kate Anderson or Ryan Sloan pitch while I was down there, but it looks Anderson had a great first inning yesterday, and like I said, Sloan is pitching. As we're recording this right now, not he's not on the bump yet, but he will be pitching at some point in the next couple hours. So really stoked for those guys because we've also been hearing nothing but good things from about them so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really cool. Like I've been watching a lot of the Seattle sports interviews and things like that that they've been doing, and hearing Cal Raleigh talk about excuse me, hearing Brendan Donovan talk about how impressive like Kate Anderson and Ryan Sloan is, like just very obviously almost like just about ready. It seems like, and they've barely gotten started. Like these guys are going to be where that's the fun thing about Mariners right now is like we're good right now, and it really feels like if we can take that next step and reach the World Series and maybe even win the World Series, which Mitch and I are both in agreement that that's going to happen this year, it we could honestly be in contention for quite a few years with a lot of these young guys coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Mitch, for you, what's kind of stood out for you in spring training? I know you've been having your eye on Colt Emerson, but yeah, what's been standing out for you?
Yeah, Cole Emerson is my guy. Like I'm hoping he makes the starting lineup. Um, but like also like you guys were talking about like Arroyo, he's just hitting the cover off the ball. So like, but he won't be there right now because obviously he's going to WC. But yeah, mainly Cole Emerson, Emerson Hancock. Even like I've been seeing
Yeah.
like good things about him. Some highlights of his. Those would probably be the two. And then just the fielding actually looks really good this year too from everybody.
Yeah, I've noticed the defenses look pretty solid from what I've noticed. I haven't personally I haven't gotten to watch inning to inning for every game, but I haven't noticed any like significant crazy blunders. I've seen some crazy dives from I think Canzone had one in that first spring training game. I think Laz had a solid play. But yeah, like I said, I haven't been able to watch inning to inning, but the defense has seemed pretty solid for sure. So I want to ask, as a collective, we obviously are all kind of paying attention to Colt Emerson, and everybody in baseball is paying attention to Colt Emerson. Realistically, with how good he has looked, do you think he makes the big league roster for opening day?
I If I were to put money on it, I would say probably not.
Hmm.
And the reason I say this is because roster construction wise,
Hmm.
it probably would be more logical for them to have kind of like Leo Rivas, for example, as that last platoon, not platoon, I guess utility kind of guy on the bench,
Hmm.
because Rivas is a right-handed hitter and Emerson's a lefty, right? And they already are pretty inundated with lefties. You have Rayleigh, Canzone in that platoon out there. You obviously have Rob Refsnyder to help out with that,
Hmm.
but you have a very lefty-heavy lineup, and I think unless Emerson is, it's still certainly possible that he could make it. I feel like they're going to give Leo Rivas that spot, and they're going to give Emerson a bit more time in AAA because he had such minimal time in AAA, right? I think it was
Yeah.
only like 18 at bats. It wasn't anything crazy, right? Like
Yeah.
he was barely up there. Now, was he playing great? Yes, absolutely. And do I have confidence that he would be, the first person called up in not even a month's time, maybe? Sure. But I think if you're looking just logical roster construction wise, they're probably going to go with Rivas, especially a guy like Rivas who has been on the big league club for, spurts for sure,
Hmm.
and, had a huge moment in the playoffs and all that. So that's kind of my prediction. Now, would I love for Emerson to make the opening day roster? Sure, because like it would be dope. It would be really
Hmm.
cool if he made it. It's just, I kind of have to change it between my prediction, like what I think will happen versus what I want to happen. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I want Leo Rivas to have a job regardless because I really like Leo Rivas. So,
It's the problem with the Mariners. They do so well with the AA and AAA guys that then you love all these guys and you're like, man, I wish they could all just be up there in the majors.
yep.
But obviously, the roster's so big, is only so big. So like it sucks because you're like, oh, I love this guy, but he can't make it if this other guy makes it, and it sucks because it's like you want them all up there, but obviously only so many can make the team. So it's
Yeah,
just the
that's
problem
what
with the Mariners. They just do so well.
that's what I was gonna say is it's a good problem to have, having just so much depth where it's like you need space for all these guys. Because yeah, I mean Rivas, I mean he's looked pretty decent in spring
Hmm.
from what I've noticed. And so I'm absolutely with you there that he certainly deserves a spot, especially having that awesome playoff moment. But yeah, I mean it's what's the story of spring training? These young guys, it's been awesome. I'm looking forward to the WBC though, kind of switching gears a little bit. What we have 17. You have the. I know
I think
you
it's
made the
17.
yeah, you made the
Yeah.
graphic, Jake, and we used that so graciously. Thank you. At least it's
Yeah.
reference, but yeah, because I think everybody who is in the WBC has reported or is at least left to report by now, correct? Because I know yesterday was Cal Raleigh and Gabe Spires' last day, and Julio left the day prior. So I'm pretty sure that everyone has left. So that's going to start gearing up here soon. I mean, dudes, we're in March. Like
I know.
I saw this morning when I was getting ready. You said it, Jake. Like it's the start of the season is this month. And
Yeah.
God,
I missed a really
kind of
good
crazy.
opportunity to say the March to October starts this
Ah,
month. I just realized that now, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't use that.
speaking of that, apparently the new MLB The Show, they're taking that feature away, which is kind of sad because that's one of my favorite game
Mm,
modes. But side note.
yeah.
But yeah, I so with it being towards the beginning of the season, obviously spring is still there's a lot of ball left to play, but something I have noticed in this spring training that really excites me, kind of coming off of the Seahawks Super Bowl run, is how much these guys talk about love, how much these guys have talked about togetherness in all their interviews. Like they're all just it feels like the clubhouse is really close. And I think they always have been, at least this core group has been, but I don't know, to me, and I'm curious if you guys kind of share in this, it kind of feels like that's up to another level. And maybe that is because it was like really prominent with the Seahawks run and everything, but it just feels like this group, I think, coming off of the trauma that is being 8 outs away of making the World Series, is just closer together and more determined than I've ever seen.
Yeah, I felt it around camp for sure. And talking with some people, like it's very clear that they are very World Series or bust right now. On the player front, the leaders have stepped up. You've had Josh Naylor and
Hmm.
Julio and Cal and Woo and all of them really being very outspoken about what their goal is this year. And I had Gary Hill on yesterday, and he corroborated that. He said they're not shy about it. They know that they were so close. They know they were talented enough to get there. And what I really like is the instead of deciding to have that eat you up, that failure
Hmm.
and feel like,
Hmm.
maybe you're just going to fail again, they have like a confidence about them. They know that they are, at the worst, a top 3 team in the American League right now, and that's
Mhm.
ultimately where you want to be, right? Like you, because a lot of factors could happen where maybe that changes either for the good or for the worse. You never
Mhm.
know. But as of right now, as of currently constructed, especially with the guys that they've added in Brendan Donovan, in Rob Refsnyder, and Jose Ferrer, who all of them have been very, I don't want to say outspoken about the whole World Series thing, like I know Ferrer has, but
Mhm.
everything I've heard is that they are very hard workers. They are ready to contribute to this club and to this organization, and they want to be some of the main pieces to help us get to a place we've never been, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you want from your player group. If there's any, section of the Mariners organization, between like the players and the front office and all that stuff that you want to be on a World Series or bust kind of mentality, ultimately it's the players. And that's where they're
Mhm.
at right now. And for them to be like that in February is, I
Mhm.
think, a really good sign. So I'm really stoked for that, and I'm really excited to see kind of the intensity I feel like we're going to get from opening day onwards.
Yeah, yeah. I also feel like having Josh Naylor there at the beginning, a lot of what people were excited about with bringing over Josh Naylor was that he brought that edge. Everybody kept saying, he has that edge that the team was really kind of looking for. And so I wonder, and I feel like, without being there and talking to these guys, I feel like that edge is if it hasn't already, is going to rub off on these guys, especially with that kind of, they're going to play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They felt like they deserved to, or they were good enough, I should say, to make the World Series last year, and they fell short. And so there's that chip on their shoulder. Mix that with the edge and with a lot of the guys coming in, like you were saying, it's I think we're in for an exciting year for sure, for sure. What about you, Mitch? What do I know that you are, we've mentioned it a couple times on the show that you're mainly Seahawks. You're still a big Mariners fan, but you got the Seahawks shirt on. So what kind of, like, for you as someone who this is going to be your first year, like, really watching end to end of baseball, and having watched the postseason last year, what are you kind of feeling? What's on your mind when you think about this upcoming season?
Pretty much the same thing. It's just like they do seem like they're just fully in on like togetherness essentially. Like this is a team game. I don't it's not about my personal stats, it's about the team. Especially Cal Raleigh, he constantly talks about like whenever they can't stop asking him those questions about his 60 home runs and everything. He always talks about how like it didn't matter to him about how many home runs he had. He was just trying to help the team win. And that's really good to hear from him, a leader, because it makes the young guys as well just be like, oh, well, if he's saying it, then that's what we should care about too. Is it's just about the team. It's not about my personal stats. Let's get to the World Series. Let's win this World Series for the Mariners. First time in history for the Mariners specifically to make the
Mhm.
World Series and to just win it immediately. That'd be awesome.
Because that's the thing is, honestly, unless the World Series opponent is the Dodgers, I feel like the Mariners can beat just about anybody in the NL. Like I feel like if they make the World Series, and I do truly feel like there's a very strong chance that they will. I feel like they will be one of they. I feel like they could be the favorite, and that's kind of crazy to say about the Seattle Mariners after you know dealing with the pain that we've dealt with for God knows how many years. But yeah, I mean, like Jake said earlier, they're one of the top three teams in the AL at least, and I would say they're a top five team in baseball, honestly. And something else that I think is interesting is, obviously with the off season, the big losses were Gino, and the big losses were Polo. No disrespect to Gino, but I miss Polo a little bit more. I'm glad that Gino's on the Reds. I hope that he's able to do well. I don't know what it is about him just being in a Mariners uniform. He just can't hit. I feel bad for him, but so a lot of people are like, oh, the team got a little worse. I don't know if I would say that this team, as it's constructed right now, assuming the players are like the opening day roster is kind of what we expect. This team, while they may not be better maybe than the team that was in the playoffs, I definitely think that we're starting off with a team. There's no question that we have a better team this spring training than we did last spring training. What we had, Rowdy Telez and fucking Donnie Barrels in spring
Yeah.
training last year. It was rough. And so that honestly kind of begs the question for me is like, where can this team really improve? Like I know right field has kind of people have some questions about it with, is Robles going to be able to bounce back? Luke Raley has looked really solid, which has been nice, and Dom Canzone as well. So that's going to be an interesting thing throughout the year. But yeah, it's like kind of where can this team really improve? Do you think?
Well, my main thing about the offseason has been that I think they were one high leverage reliever away from it being like a really just almost perfect offseason. So I guess that's one thing, is the bullpen most likely will need some work. And I think
Mhm.
you have to kind of think about it in the sense of the WBC going on. Like the guys who are
Mhm.
playing in the WBC are going to be playing more innings, especially the
Mhm.
pitchers, right? Like you have Gabe Spire, and some other, I don't remember all the pitchers necessarily that
I
we
think
have,
Munoz
Dane
is. I think.
Dunning, Munoz, of course, Dane Dunning for Korea. Like you never know. Like I don't know. So you have to think about it though in that sense, right? Like you have two of your main relievers, your top guys, in Gabe Spire and Andres Munoz, are playing in the WBC. So therefore, earlier on in the season than they're used to pitching in leverage situations, they will be. So you kind of have to think about it on, it probably would have been nice to have at least one more like high leverage arm to add to kind of hopefully offset what the potential drawbacks of that are. So
Mhm.
on the pitching side, that's really it, because the rotation is good as long as they stay healthy. Like I'm not worried
Mhm.
about the rotation at all. Obviously the depth is kind of whatever, but
Mhm.
as some people point out, like the depth for starting pitching outside of your top 5 on any team is not necessarily good unless you're like the Dodgers or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that on the pitching side. And on the hitting side, I mean, it's you do have a lot of variables on, you just don't know how these guys are going to do, right? Like Luke Raley is looking really good in spring training. Will he still hit like last year? Because if he does, then that's not good. Victor
Mhm.
Robles is, you don't know what you're going to get from him. He may
Mhm.
not become, his 2024 self again. And then you have, the question marks of Cole Young. You have the question
Mhm.
marks of Colt Emerson, when, because it's not necessarily a if, it's a when he makes the team,
Yeah.
right? So you don't know how any of those guys are going to do. So there's a lot of question marks there. Now, do I feel better because they brought in guys like Brendan Donovan and, Rob Ref Snyder, who have very, at least on Reb Snyder's case, have very clear defined roles on this team
Mhm.
that we know they have a track record of being good at? Yes, that's awesome. And that's one of the biggest things for me with, getting Brendan Donovan. If you didn't, then this offseason's grade goes from here to woo, yikes,
Yeah.
right? So he is kind of one of the biggest equalizers there, because now you have a really solid leadoff hitter who can set the table. He's been consistent for his whole career, and I don't really see anything in his profile that would make me worried about how you do in T-Mobile Park either.
Mhm.
So I would say yes, it is the, if you're going strictly off of opening day rosters, it's one of the best they've had in a long time. So that is
Mhm.
good. Does it mean that they are a complete roster? No, because obviously you have those question marks there. You don't know how they're going to pan out, and not all of them are going to hit. I mean, very
Mhm.
unlikely that all of them are going to hit, right? And if they do, then you're winning the World Series. Awesome.
Yeah.
But you have to expect at least a couple to not really pan out too much, and then it's like, what do you do
Mhm.
from there, and how does the trade deadline go? So that's where there are some weaknesses potentially, but it's all potentially right now.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
it is funny that you brought up Victor Robles because as you were bringing him up, he was up to bat and he just got a single.
Yeah,
I noticed
I
that.
know. Yeah.
I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah, he
Oh, and it
did
looks
hit.
like,
He
oh
did
my,
hit one on the ground, a
wait,
grounder to soft grounder to second base.
did
So,
Cole Young just hit a home run?
well,
Live
I'm
reaction?
behind. I'm behind. So you must.
Oh my,
If he did,
I have a ball
then
right now. That's all I got.
Uh,
I have a 1-0 count right now. So I don't
That's all
know.
okay,
I
all
got.
right. Let's see. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Pitch from Latz to Young. Swung on and
Yeah,
belted
yep.
right field. Yeah, that's a yeah. Okay, there's that
Wow.
Cole Young power. There it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, and that's Cole
All
Young.
right.
Honestly, I think he, I feel bad for him almost because like with Colt Emerson kind of being the big talk around camp, like Cole Young, I think kind of is silver medal when it comes to what everybody's talking about. But I'm really excited for Cole Young because he looked really
Yeah.
good for that first half of the season, and then obviously I think everybody said like he just ran out of gas.
I
And
like that
so
home run though, because I will say he's
mhm.
looked a bit frustrated at the plate bats in spring. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've noticed it. He's looked a little frustrated. So I like that we
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah, get him going for sure, for sure.
He was
Yeah,
really frustrated, so he hit the ball out of the
he
park.
took
Yeah.
he took all
Threw
his
it.
anger out on that ball. My
Yep.
goodness. Yeah, Cole Young is going to be interesting because I can't remember if it was Sites or no, it was Seattle Sports interview with damn it, where is his name going? Hollander. My God, sorry, Hollander. He was talking about how I guess Cole Young had done some he really focused this offseason on just like the consistency and the longevity and just making sure that he was ready for the full 162. So I obviously excited for Colt Emerson and everything and when he eventually, because I agree with you that he's going to be up at some point this season, but Cole Young I think is going to be really interesting. Second base just as a whole has suddenly become really interesting with Cole Young, Ryan Bliss. I don't know how he did yesterday. I think yesterday was the spring training debut, but Ryan Bliss, seeing how he looks after injury. Obviously, Arroyo was looking really really good. I think second base is going to be interesting for sure. But one other, so we're talking about like all these young guys and everything. Let's talk a second about Julio. All right, everybody loves talking about Julio. Do you think that with the WBC and just with some of the what it seems like kind of mental changes he made after the all or like during the All-Star break and after the Game 7 loss, do you guys think that he's gonna still be his usual cold and then hot halfway through, or do you think we can expect to see him start a little hotter than usual?
That's a good question. I feel like I need to check his splits really quick. First half WRC plus 105 after 2023. But but here's the thing though, right? Like he's what?
Hmm.
He's 25, which is crazy
Hmm.
still. He's younger than me. So in 2023
Hey, Julio
he's
and I are
what?
the same age.
There you go. Yeah. So 2023 he's, what, 23-ish
Hmm.
around that time.
Hmm.
Um it's hard with Julio because I feel like every year you kind of feel like, oh, this is the year where he like doesn't
Hmm.
start off struggling. Now, I do have a what's popping in my head right now is, and it kind of goes off the conversation we just had where the opening day roster this year is a lot better than it was last year and the years prior, right?
Hmm.
And I feel like a lot of times when Julio is struggling, it's when he is very clearly pressing and feels like he
Hmm.
needs to be like the offensive guy for this team. You can tell
Yeah.
when Julio feels like he needs to be the dude, right? He
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
swinging at everything. That's when you hit him high and upside and inside, and then you do a
Hmm.
slider down and away, and it could be in the other batter's box, and he will flail on it, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's very clear. If this is one of the best opening day rosters that they've had in a long time, you have Donovan in front of him, you have Cal in front of him, you have Julio in the 3 spot, you have behind him Josh Naylor and Randy Rosarena. Maybe that will be the mentality
Mm.
change he finally has, right? Because instead of, having Tommy LaStella behind him, you
Oh
have,
God.
you have like you just have a really solid 1 through 5 at least, and then you have a
Hmm.
decent 6 through 9, right?
Hmm.
So you do wonder, like, will there be kind of a mentality shift? Because if Julio can just be like locked in, not try to do too much, just be himself, that's when he is producing the way that we know he can. So I would say he has a better chance this year than in previous years. I feel like to do that, because I honestly don't know how much the weather really affects it. Right? Like, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna. I will say, T-Mobile Park, even with a roof, gets freaking cold if it
Yeah.
is in April. Like, it is freezing in there. The wind finds its way in. The rain does find its way in, and specifically, I went to an April game a couple years ago when it was windy as hell and it
Hmm.
was raining, and
Hmm.
the where the slots are, I guess not slots, like the openings in the roof are, it blows in right to center field, which guess who's standing there, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's where I kind of, I'm curious though. I think it's more of a mentality thing for him, and one, he's older, 25 now,
Hmm.
so he's going to continue to mature in that way. But then this is also the best like supporting cast he's had on opening day in a long time. So yeah, I mean, I would say I'm not necessarily going to put money on it per se, but at the same
Sure.
time, I do think if there was a year that he could have a more consistent from beginning to end year, this could be the year because of that reason.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Mitch, I want to ask you, kind of piggybacking off of that, talking about expectations and things. You know, who do you think on this opening day roster has the biggest expectations?
Honestly, probably Cal.
Yeah,
Just
it's
because
kind
of
of
how
it's
well
kind of
he did last season, I think he has the most expectations, and also like considering he is the main catcher we have, like we do have backups, but it's Cal.
huh.
Like
Have we
I
started
think,
Scarberry yet this spring?
No, not
Now
yet.
that I think about
but
it.
oh yeah, I forgot he was back on the team. But
Mhm.
yeah, I would say Cal probably has the highest expectations this year.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree with that, and I think that that plays a part in what Jake was saying of kind of taking some of that pressure off of Julio and letting him just kind of do
Mhm.
his thing and lock in and be him. Can I give a hot take? Speaking on Cal, can I give a hot take real
Yeah.
quick?
Yeah.
I honestly think that he is going to hit 60 again this year. I don't think that last year was a fluke. And
Okay.
my reasoning for that, listening to Kevin Seitzer talk about working with Cal in the offseason and what they really picked on, because Cal asked him, what do I need to do better? And Seitzer's like, what do you mean? What do you need to do better? You hit 60 home runs last year. Cal's like, no, like what can I improve on? Which love that, by the way. They ended up what Cal's big focus this offseason, what I think will be his big focus this season, is shrinking his strike zone. And I think that because obviously, yes, all these pitchers are going to start pitching him different. He's a different profile now. But I think kind of counteracting that with shrinking his strike zone and just kind of being more selective. Maybe he won't hit 60 again, but I do think that he's going to have a higher on base than he did last year, for sure. I wouldn't say I expect it, but everybody's always like, no, there's no way he's going to hit 60 again. Like he's going to regress 15, 20 home runs, maybe, possibly, but I think if he regresses in the home run department, I absolutely think that he's going to blow his OBP out of the water. Hot take.
Who is saying he's going to regress to 15 to 20 homers?
Or excuse me, regress 15, 20, not regress
Okay,
to
I was gonna
15,
say,
20.
I was like, that's a way hotter take, frankly. That's crazy, unless he gets injured. Like, that's the only way that's possible. No, I
Yeah.
mean, his on base percentage will get better, but like, so will kind of everyone's, right? With
Hmm.
ABS, like, it's gonna be a
True.
natural just point of everyone's stat line. The ABS is going to add to on base percentage 100%. And Cal in particular, I could see that happening, and I certainly would love to see some less swing and miss from him.
Hmm.
I kind of like the reasoning that I heard from the Locked On Mariner guys as far as they, them not thinking he's going to hit 60 because
Hmm.
people are going to pitch to him less this year probably, and
Yeah.
that's a pretty reasonable like thought that will probably happen. Is they're going
Yeah.
to be a lot more selective with him, and especially earlier on the year, depending on how Julio goes, they probably would just like, okay, we'll face Julio instead, right?
Yeah.
um I don't necessarily think he's going to hit 60 or anything, but here's my big thing about Cal, and I want to make this
Hmm.
very clear. And I think, especially, those stupid Yankee fans who are all into the MVP debate, right? Here's the thing, okay? If any one of those people tweet at any one of us in September, and Cal is a 5+ WAR catcher, but he's not, 9+ WAR and all that jazz.
Hmm.
See, look, we told you. He's still the best catcher in baseball. What an own.
Yeah.
You really got me, man. Like,
Oh,
you really
wow.
got me. Hands up. Like, it's just ridiculous how, everyone's like, well, he's going to come back down to earth. Okay, his earth is still the best catcher in baseball. Like, I'm not going to be crying at all. Like, it's just ridiculous. So I think he's still going to, be a 4 to 5 win catcher. I think he's going to be, and he's going to be getting more DH days. And
Hmm.
I'm not worried about him at all when it comes to this year. I don't think he's going to be an MVP candidate again this year, but I wouldn't be surprised though if
Yeah.
he does end up putting up the same year, because I mean, granted, I'm not, I don't know baseball enough to tell you if like what he was doing last year is sustainable, but I'd
Hmm.
rather go off of the couple years in a row where he was a 4 point whatever F4 catcher, and instead of last year where he was over 9. Like, Would love for him to repeat it. Not going to expect it, but that's okay. Like I'm fine with him not repeating that ultimately, especially as long as the team still does well and is
Hmm.
still as long as he's still a productive, top 3 to best catcher in baseball level. Like, cool, that works for me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, his floor is higher than a lot of people's ceilings, and so long as he's like, even if he hits his floor, like like you said, he's still elite. But Jake, I wanted to ask you. So you mentioned earlier that you had Gary Hill on, and you mentioned while we were talking, kind of before we started recording, that like you've had Adam Jude on and stuff. You have done awesome on the interviews. First things first, I want to give you your flowers. Like, congratulations to some of the guys that you're getting on. That's
Thank
huge.
you.
Um, I want to ask you if you can pull something for me. What is like when you do these interviews and you're talking to these people who are or who are like actively involved in the space? Is there something that someone has said that kind of like stuck with you of like, wow, that was profound, or just something that like really just kind of was interesting, in maybe your more recent interviews? I won't ask you to like cast your memory back to all of them you've ever done, but is there something that anybody said that's like really just kind of stuck with you in all the interviews you've done?
Um, I don't know if there's been a specific thing necessarily. I think one thing I will say is that everyone's been great.
Mhm.
I haven't really met any, duds or secret, rude people or anything, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's been great and everyone's been very uh welcoming for the most part, which has been really cool. I would say, my interview with Gary Hill was great. I
Mhm.
not the one that I just came out with, not saying it was bad, but like I did one over the off season that was more about like his career. That was
Mhm.
really fun to get into. And I would say Ryan Roland Smith, the one with him was a really fun interview. He's a great conversationalist. He has some fantastic stories.
Mhm.
His Andy Pettit story was really cool to just
Yeah.
kind of hear about. So a lot of that was fantastic. And yeah, I mean, so like I guess there hasn't been a specific thing necessarily, because a lot of the things that have kind of stuck with me haven't necessarily been from interviews. They've been more kind of behind the scenes stuff, I guess,
Mhm. Mhm.
and like advice I've gotten and all that. But yeah, it's been really cool to get people like that on, people who, Gary Hill's on my screen right now as they're looking into the radio booth, right? Like
Yeah.
that's really cool. But it's been awesome because it's like it's just that kind of extra level of intimacy that you don't normally get when you're watching
Mhm.
any sports team, a major
Mhm.
professional sports team, right? And to be
Mhm.
able to talk with people who are actively in the organization has been fantastic. And being able to build those relationships has been really cool because obviously,
Yeah,
it can open some doors here and there that have been
for sure.
awesome, but at the same time, like, um, one of the main things for my interviews is I'm really trying to kind of find the humanity side of it. Like, of course I'm going to ask
Mhm.
you about your career and professional things, but I also like want to know, like, what are you like what do you like to
Mhm.
do, what do you like to get into outside of baseball and stuff like that. And so that's really been the cool part, is everyone's been fairly open about that. And it makes for some really cool content, being able to not only just ask, okay, well, what are you working on at, in
Mhm.
baseball wise right now, what would you say is the strongest part of your game, right? Like I'm asking
Mhm.
Samad Taylor his favorite Call of Duty games of all time, right? Like, stuff, little
Yeah.
things like that, where you're just like, this is a nice little kind of extra inside look to who this person is. So I would say
Yeah.
those have kind of been the coolest things thus far.
Yeah, for sure. I love that, honestly, because like I imagine, for these players and for like staff and announcers and stuff, like when people are setting up these interviews and stuff, they're kind of expecting like, okay, we're just gonna talk baseball, whatever. And so I
Yeah.
imagine it's probably kind of nice, a nice little break for them, for you to ask, what's your favorite Call of Duty game? What's your go-to Uno play, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah, well,
yeah,
a nice little like behind the scenes snippet that I'll say, and I haven't fully 100% confirmed this or not, but
hmm
when I made my video about us trading for Brendan Donovan, I made a big
hmm
trade breakdown video and all that. Um, not that long ago, like a couple months ago, I decided to put my email in my like bios and stuff because
Yeah.
I heard some tip on TikTok which hasn't
Hmm.
worked with what I was trying to do, but it was one of those things where it was like put your email there so that like if brands see you and want to like help sponsor you or whatever, then they can have a very direct way to communicate with you. So that's part of the reason why I did it. But
Hmm.
after the Brendan Donovan trade video, I wake up the next morning and some guy emailed me. I don't recognize the name or anything like that, and the email subject line just says Donnie. And from what I've been able to, not like I said, not 100% verify, but
Hmm.
everything seems to check out on my basic assessment. This is Brendan Donovan's like father-in-law emailing me saying he saw my video and
Whoa.
like he loved it and he was asking me for like Seattle tips about like places to go in Seattle as he's never been
Oh,
there before, that type of thing. And it was very
that's
cool.
so
He
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I replied to him. He never replied back to me, which is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
Papa Donovan or whatever you want to call him. I mean, I guess in-law, so not Papa Donovan, but like still, I mean, it was that was like a weird, like surreal type thing. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
like someone from a player's family saw my video, which is scary, but also very cool.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. That's wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Um, so then I have one other thing I want to ask you,
Mm.
my friend. Obviously, you are Mariners. That's your whole thing. I mean, I see your background, beautiful. I see all your stuff. But I know that you did watch some of the or most of the Seahawks playoff run, at least. And so I wanted to ask you, as someone who primarily watches baseball, primarily follows the Mariners, what was it like for you coming off of getting so close to the team that is your team reaching the pinnacle of their sport, watching the team across the street do that, and what was that experience like for you?
Um, Well, a lot of it was just, obviously living in Washington too. Like a lot of the people I know are Seahawks fans, right? Like by proximity, it's not like I
Mhm.
live in some totally other state where, like, oh, I'm one of the only Seattle Mariner fans or anything. Like I'm surrounded by Mariner fans, I'm surrounded by Seahawk fans, all that stuff.
Yeah.
For me, it was really just it was two things. One, it was seeing people that I know being really happy that their team won a championship. Like that's super
Mhm.
cool. And it's always nice. I feel for those people. I'm not a football guy at all. Like I know how it works, but
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't watch football aside from, some Seahawk games here and there, but then also the playoffs as well. I was watching all the playoffs. Um, so I part of it was just me feeling like happy for the people I know who are Seahawk fans, especially, a lot of my peers are Seahawks fans by
Yeah.
extension, right? So, having them not only be able to live through the, most successful Mariners season of all time, but then right after that to watch their football team win the championship was really cool.
Yeah.
And then you kind of saw it, especially with like Josh Naylor, for example, and some of the other guys, like I know Brian Wu and George Kirby and I think Cal and some other
Mhm.
people were down at the Super Bowl supporting the Seahawks. I think that was a really cool portion of it. The fact that the Mariners guys have been very uh bold as far as making sure to support the other Seattle teams right now.
Mhm.
And that's really all spearheaded by Josh Naylor, right? Like he's at the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, he's going to the Kraken games, I'm assuming going to the Torrent games. I haven't seen pictures
Yeah.
of him at one, but he's been very outward as far as his like kind of just love for Seattle now. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
and they've been very vocal that they want to support those the other Seattle teams in the area, and they're kind of hoping that there's some reciprocity there, that the other Seattle
Mhm.
teams support them. And
Mhm.
I don't see how that's a bad thing. Like it's only going to make
Yeah.
it cooler if a whole city can support themselves together with their successes, right? So, you'll start to probably see it with the Sounders, and you'll see it with the Kraken, who are, I have no idea how well they're doing, but I'm assuming gearing up for a postseason run?
I think
don't
they're
know. Someone
in
else can
like
tell me.
I think they're in the conversation, but I know that
Yeah,
they've
I know they're
dropped
in the
like the first two
conversation.
games, so it's
Yeah,
not going great.
yeah. But no, it's just really cool that the city is starting to really try to kind of consolidate, I guess, in a way, and support each other. So it
Yeah.
was very cool in that way for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I agree. It's been nice to kind of show the world that like Seattle's a sports town. We always have been, but now everybody gets to see it. For
Yeah.
sure, for sure. So, I think that does it for me. Everything I had. Mitch, do you have anything you wanna add before we wrap it up with our guy here?
That was all I had. As far as the Kraken go, they apparently are in a very tight race for the playoffs.
Okay. Good
Okay,
to know.
cool. We'll keep an eye
Every
on
time I
that.
start to
Well,
watch them, they start losing, so I will not be watching.
yeah, keep those games off your screen. Come
Yeah,
on, come on.
well,
Oh man. Well, hey, Jenk, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us. I had an
of course.
absolute blast. It was so much fun, and I'm looking forward to watching the season. I'm looking forward to seeing. I know you got some trackers on deck for Twitter and stuff.
Some
So,
trackers, some cool things content wise that have not been announced yet, that will
yeah.
be announced in due time. But yeah, some super cool things down the pipe for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So keep an eye out for what Jake's got coming. Make sure you hop over to his channel, hop over on his Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. I'll make sure I have it linked below so everybody can find you. And yeah, like we always say here on the 12th Inning Podcast,
Trident's up!
go Mariners.
12 is one. Go Hawks.